So, last Thursday I went to a gig. I went to see My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, you heard me. My Bloody Valentine. I saw them here in Tokyo 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Where does the time go? It goes. So. Anyway. The gig. It was bloody loud. I mean, it was so loud they were giving out earplugs at the door. The venue, which was down in Shinkiba, was pretty good, but packed. I mean, really crowded. I think the years from that 1991 gig had elevated it to something more than perhaps it was. The thing I really remember about that gig was that I was invited backstage. Yeah, backstage. I was leaving the gig and someone asked me if I wanted to go backstage to meet the band. Well, who is going to say, no, I have to be going home? So, I went backstage and met the band. But what do you say to a band you really like? You can say, I really liked the gig, I really like your music, which seems a bit lame, although there's nothing wrong with telling someone you like their music. So, anyway, the last song they played was called You Made Me Realize, and it has this last section where the band just throw out a huge noise. A very loud and sustained noise. It was like being in the middle of a tornado or standing next to a rocket launch. And that noise went on for about 10 minutes. It was so bloody loud. Even with the earplugs in, it was loud. My shirt was shivering from the sheer volume of noise. It was a strange experience. I was begging them to stop. I could hardly hear myself think. I was entering a strange altered state. I could not hear my own voice in my own head. I was losing track of time. How long had they been holding that note? Now I remember that back in 1991 they had done the same song, and the same long sustained ultra-loud climax. Finally, after an eternity, it ended. They left the stage. And that was that. We left the crowded, claustrophobic venue into the cool night air and reality. I'm not sure if the gig had lived up to my 20-year wait. But it was an interesting place to be. I could have been sitting in the office, at my desk, looking at the computer screen. But instead I was being inexplicably deafened by a band from Ireland and from my past. I learned later that My Bloody Valentine, which really means Kevin Shields, had finally, after 20 years, released the follow-up album to Loveless, the CD that had grabbed me and made me go to see them that long ago evening. The circle is complete. The next gig on the calendar is Ringo Starr and his all-star band on February the 25th. The Beatles were one of the first bands I really got into when I was a kid. I never saw them, of course. Never seen Paul. So perhaps Ringo is as close as I will ever get. Better than nothing. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have things to do.